Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Beyond the Harp. I am so excited to be back with you. And of course, I'm back with you earlier than I usually am because we had Marianne just last week. And here we are again for another week. But I just love doing Beyond the Harp, so it's all good to be back for a second week in a row. It's very exciting. We love our chats. So, please let me know if you guys are with us, if you can hear us. Before we start, we'll make sure that you guys can hear us loud and clear. I hope you have been enjoying a lovely spring day wherever you are. Some of you might not be spring. Fantastic! You can already hear us. This is great. This is nice and quick, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love it.
Second to get going.
So it sure does. So it's great that you guys are here and that you're tuned in and you can hear us, which means that we can just get going. But do let us know where you're joining us from. It's always lovely to know who's tuning in and where you are in the world. So write in the chat, let us know. Rosemary is from England. You don't need to let us know, Rosemary, because we know. But do let us know. Okay, shall we get started then? Yeah. This is nice because we're getting straight into it. I've got my notes here. We are talking to a very exciting special guest today. She really spans multi-genres in her music. She has a very eclectic taste and eclectic mix in her approach, which makes it really exciting. Exploring classical chamber music, folk music, jazz music, I would say you name it, she will bring it into her music and explore it, which is really exciting. Our harpist today is a singer and composer. She works with many different instrumentalists as well with her composing and on other projects. She's got lots of different things going on and it's really exciting. Now, she began her harp studies in St Mary's Music School in Edinburgh, and then she continued on at the Royal Northern College of Music. And she'll definitely tell us all about her harp learning because we know that that's what we like to hear about, those special beginnings. Now, she's since then travelled the world with her harp music and her compositions, sharing that with a variety of audiences across the globe. So we're really excited to have her here tonight. She has been commissioned for works by Celtic Connections, Chamber Music Scotland, Manchester Jazz Festival, and the Edwin Morgan Trust. And she has performed internationally with her band, the Emergence Ensemble. She also launched her first solo album last year in June, Expectations of a Lifetime. I definitely want to explore that title. So without further ado, can you all please welcome the amazing Esther Swift? Hello!
Hello, how are you all doing? Such a treat to be here.
Well, we're really excited to have you here, Esther. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm just really excited because you really are an eclectic harpist. You bring in so many different things. And I think you're the most, experimental harpist that we've had. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really fortunate because I have had I think I put it down to, having been steeped in all sorts of music from a young age. I'm from Peebles, which is a town in the Scottish borders, just down the road from Edinburgh, actually, just 20 miles southwest. And so I kind of was brought up with folk music. But then I went to St Mary's Music School, so it was there that I learned classical music and also became familiar with some jazz. And then I went to study classical, whilst always writing my own music and really just getting a lot out of exploring that and my own creativity. So yeah, lots of other influences as well, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned that you started with traditional music, but can you give us a bit more detail about what happened in those beginnings? Was it the lever harp you were learning? Who were you learning with? How did you get into harp?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the very first time I played the harp was at Charlotte Peterson's class. Charlotte is a really old friend now, and I have a lot to thank her for, because she did a kind of let's try the harp workshop. So I literally had never touched the harp before. I already played the fiddle, actually. I played the fiddle before I started the harp, fiddle slash violin. I used to do the busking competition with my pal in Peebles in the Peebles busking competition. It was like my entry to performing music, and I loved it. But anyway, I met Charlotte. I can't remember where. I think it was actually through my local arts centre, the Eastgate Theatre, I think. And she was running these Try the Harp workshops. And so I just instantly fell in love with it when I went to have a shot. And then I had a couple of lessons from Heather Yule, not to be confused with Heather Downey. I have made that mistake before. um, and yeah, it was from there really that I started playing traditional music with Charlotte. I had regular lessons with Charlotte for a few years. And then, yeah, I went to St Mary's, had lessons with Katrina Mackay there, with Isabel Miras also. And after that, I went on to the RNCM, the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester, and studied with Iarlyn Jones, who's an amazing Welsh harpist, played with a Halle. Yeah, and since then I kind of been ducking and diving with different teachers and trying to pick up tips from all sorts of people, as well, harpists and other musicians alike. Yeah, and it's very hard to pinpoint my kind of influences, but I'd say they go from, my obviously Katrina Mackay is a huge influence on me. Her playing is phenomenal. Her creativity is just phenomenal in the clarsach. And then I started playing pedal harp through her as well. So I've got a kind of playfulness, I think, on the pedal harp because of her influence also. And then, I love contemporary jazz. My current obsession actually is someone called Lewis Cole, who is playing in London in September. No, this month. Oh, I think it's actually in like a couple of days.
Oh.
Anyway, he is phenomenal because he kind of personifies what I would like to do. He really speaks to me because he has like influences of Wagner, I'd say, in his music. He has like super chopsy contemporary jazz in his music. He has beautiful choral influences because I was also a chorister from the age of 8 to 14 in St Mary's Cathedral. That was actually the reason that I went to St Mary's Music School more long term, was because I was a chorister there first. So yeah, all of those different styles are things that I'm very interested in. Also, Lewis Cole is just so good at writing a simple kind of heart-wrenching tune, which is almost like a nursery rhyme sometimes, but it doesn't need to be more, does it? It's just there's something about the simplicity combined with the complexity which is so inspiring to me. I'm really, really excited about that.
That's definitely a name that we'll look out for sure. So you started your journey because of Charlotte Peterson. What age were you when you first put your fingers on a harp?
I was 8, I think. So I didn't actually start playing kind of more regularly until I was 9 or 10. Yeah.
Nice.
But then I couldn't stop after that. I just kept going. And then I was really fortunate to, there was a pedal harp at the school, at St Mary's Music School. So I was able to play the pedal harp, and eventually I was able to get my own pedal harp as well.
That's exciting. And how about your relationship with the lever harp and the pedal harp? In all the music that we are going to share today, you're actually playing the pedal harp. But do you play the lever harp? Did you? Do you still do?
I do, yeah. I love playing lever harp. Nothing sounds as good as tunes sound on the clarsach. I think there's something really special about the percussive nature of the clarsach. It's such a great percussive instrument. I play it a lot still. But I suppose I kind of publicly play the pedal harp more. And I think that's just because of my classical training, to be honest. And I think I've just developed my kind of compositional style more on the pedal harp. And I suppose the elements of the pedal harp that I focus on are like the bass of it, the pedals themselves, like the chromaticism, and just the potential of color because of the size and scale of the instrument, the kind of sonority of it. But yeah, I love playing clarsach too. I was on a tour last year around Germany with the clarsach, which was really lovely. That was for 35 shows. Woofed.
Wow.
Quite the run. Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really, really lovely. And of course, we've heard now your singing roots as well because you sing with your harp too. And is that important to you, the fact that I think everything that we're going to play tonight, actually, you're singing as well as playing the harp? So, how important is it to you to bring that element of singing into your music?
Yeah, I feel like, because I didn't study singing, I did have lessons when I was at school and when I was a chorister. But I feel like because I didn't officially study it, there's a kind of a connection to my voice which feels like a more kind of naive and childlike, and for that reason I really enjoy including that in my performances, and I feel like it's the real humanity. The singing voice has, has a real chance to cut through and be the human element, I think. I've been really trying to reflect on that recently in my own songs, and just like not shy away from the humanity, like the personality of my voice, and the sort of, yeah, the sounds that you can make just with this human speaking voice and the singing voice. So yeah, I think I've always sung and played, actually. Isabel Miras taught me that. And so it just feels extremely natural to me to do both together. And I love writing songs and I love words. And I've been commissioned by the Book Festival 3 times, actually. This year is the 3rd time.
Wow.
And by the Edwin Morgan Trust. Edwin Morgan, some of you may know, is an incredible poet. Glaswegian was an incredible Glaswegian poet. And I love working with words, and setting poetry to music and making poetry of my own as well. So it just feels kind of natural to sing and play. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, that's lovely. One of the pieces that we're going to play later on is a poem, and there's actually some spoken word in the performance as well. And I'm interested to know what your reflections are on the spoken word, not verses, but the spoken word and singing in your performance. Do you see it as a difference? Do they play different roles? How important is it to you to have words spoken and sung?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh my gosh. I think it's just when I recorded this track, because it's the first blast to Awaken Women Degenerate, and the speaker is actually the poet Rachel McCrum, who features at the beginning. And she is from Belfast. She's got a great kind of fiery Northern Irish way of speaking this poem herself. She's also a performance poet. And so I really wanted to capture her spirit at the beginning of that track. It's quite a deep voice, very different to my voice, I'd say, because my voice is quite high and it's quite smooth, I suppose it can be. And so, I wanted more of a kind of raw introduction, so that the mic voice would be like a nice contrast to that. And I suppose just in thinking about, because this album was my first album. I've made EPs before, but I really wanted to consider production, and like how to produce something, because I produced it myself. And I've worked with producers in the past who have taught me so much about like how much you can do in the production stage to create kind of dimensions of music. So I wanted to think about that a lot on this album. And so I've introduced various sort of sounds of nature in the album, And I tried to introduce like other sounds like spoken word, and sort of other styles of microphone, miking up the harp, like close miking versus distant miking. Um, and in that track, actually, the first blast to awaken women degenerate, which is actually a quote by Lord Byron, which is recontextualized by Rachel McCrum in her poem. In that poem, the trombone is very there's a lot of production on the trombone in the recording. There's not in the live YouTube video, actually, so you'll hear the live version, I think.
Yes, we will.
But the album version is very different, because we wanted to create that kind of dimension of sound, create something special for the
Okay.
album version.
Interesting. We've went off on a tangent talking about our second clip, so I think we better listen to our first clip.
Oh, sorry, that was me.
That's
I'll
all right.
just talk forever if I'm given the chance. Sorry.
That's all right. We love it. We love it. But we definitely want to hear, and some of your voices on this, so at least we get to hear that what you described, the smooth, high voice, which will be lovely. So we're going to have a little listen to your first clip, and I'm actually really interested to hear from you about the visuals of this clip after we've heard and seen it. So let's have a listen.
Just run away with me. Let's leave the city. To me. Just run away with me. Let's get out of the city. Clouds start parting, lights reflecting my skin.
Lovely. So maybe before you tell us about the visuals, you could tell us about what that track is, where it's from.
Yeah, of course. That's the opening track from my album, and it's called Opening. And I wrote it in spring, skiing in spring. Oh, 2 years ago. It took me a minute to remember that was 2 years ago. So I wrote that when I was climbing the hill behind my house, which is Arthur's Seat, which is quite an iconic hill in Edinburgh, and it's right behind my house. I'm very, very lucky. And I just really felt the joy of spring. But yes, the visuals are very important for this whole album. I worked with amazing artist Oana Stanciu, who is based here in Edinburgh. She's Romanian, and she brings kind of folk lore influences into her art, and has this like beautiful kind of vintage style camera work, which I think is really cool and special, and makes everything just feel kind of quite magical somehow and mysterious. And she just represents the whole visual identity of the whole album, including 3 music videos which you can find on YouTube, and all of the artwork that I did for the album. And it was just amazing to work with her really intensely. I was really lucky because I got Creative Scotland money, so I could really investigate that work. And we spent a lot of time together in her studio, and I got to, as you can see, hide around, and she kind of made me do these things, and we explored sort of using multiple hands and kind of being at one with nature, basically, and what that kind of might feel like and look like. And so we had a lot of fun working together, and we walked around the city, particularly looking for urban nature, which worked its way into that video too. And you also would have seen the string quartet, who were featured on the album too. So yeah, they were amazing to work with as well. for the whole project. They were heavily involved from the beginning too. So it was great to work with lots of women, as well as I did work with a drummer, and Fergus McCready was the piano player, who's an amazing jazz piano player living in Glasgow, and the drummer was Alex Palmer, who's an incredible jazz drummer as well, living in Glasgow as well. So again, I wanted to work with jazz musicians as well as classical musicians, as well as folkies too, because there's a piper that features in that tune. Highland piper. So that was really fun to record as well.
Amazing. That sounds wonderful. And when you were making the video, it looks like a kaleidoscope to me, the video. When you were making these, how did you feel? I'm interested because obviously I make music, but making videos, I really don't like doing it. Like playing your instrument, exploring your instrument, you explore so much your instrument that's really exciting, and I can kind of relate to that. Like, yeah, that's exciting to explore all that stuff. But exploring things where someone's videoing me and I don't know how you filmed that, if you were lying like in amongst leaves or anything like that. Like, how did that feel? Was it unusual to you, or did you embrace it in the same way you embrace music? Was it difficult?
Yeah, that's such a great question. It was not a natural thing for me. I'm gonna say, if I reflect, it was a huge learning curve for me to be filmed. I have worked with filmers before with my duo 12th Day, and we've released a number of videos, which are quite tongue in cheek, and a bit more kind of comedic. If anyone wants to check them out. So they're super fun to do. But got my pal there, got my friend there, and so it feels easier, I think, when you're with someone else. But this time was kind of like it was like bearing my soul, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I definitely had to do a lot of work to get over, worrying about how I looked, and just being self-conscious in front of the camera. But I think that was why it was really great to spend so much time with Juana, because she's not a filmmaker, she's an artist. And so she didn't want me to look, she wanted me to look genuine. And so, we did quite a lot of work together, just making me relax, getting me to relax, and getting me to kind of find, like, the sort of purpose, the artistic purpose of what we were going for together. So yeah, I think that was like, I don't think I would be able to do like, a sort of Beyonce type.
Never say never.
Never say never, you never know. But I don't think I feel like I could, strut my stuff or whatever. But when it comes to, if it's like an art for sort of artistic, like, yeah, I don't know, but she is an artist, isn't she? Beyonce's an artist as well. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't really know how to answer that question. I think it's there's a lot of work to be done. It's an art form, in itself. And so I think just having someone there to choreograph and lead you and tell you what to do with your face and your body is so helpful. And I would not have been able to do that without her. She absolutely led the way with that.
Well, it does. It looks absolutely amazing. So I think we should definitely have a listen to the poem that we've already heard a little bit about. So this next one is we don't have the spoken word at the start, but you guys can certainly go and have a listen to this YouTube video. We'll give everybody the links. And actually, whilst I'm talking to everyone about links, guys, please remember we will have a Q&A at the end. Questions from you. Don't feel you need to hold them until the end. Pop them in the chat now. William can save them till the end for our question and answer time. And we'll also put the links for all these videos in the description after. But let's have a little listen to this, and then you can tell us a bit more about the construction of this piece.
Give me gorilla women and bear women. Give me penguin women and wolfhound women.
amazing. So you've told us a little bit about that track already, and this is a live performance as opposed to a pre-made video, but the staging there and the set looks absolutely amazing. Where is that being performed, and was that important in this track?
Thank you. Yeah, that was my album launch actually. So that was in the Queen's Hall in Edinburgh. And again, I was very fortunate. I got funding from Help Musicians, who are an amazing organisation, as well as Creative Scotland. And so I was able to kind of realise my dream album launch. And so that's why I've got this huge sheet behind me with the visuals. And I wanted to, yeah, I really wanted a spectacle with the visuals as well. And with the lighting, I had like a bespoke lighting design for that show too. Um, yeah, so it was honestly like a once in a lifetime opportunity to have that opportunity to make something bespoke for that space and for that moment. Yeah, so I feel very lucky.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. So we're hearing a lot about compositions, about your music, and you mentioned earlier that that seems to have been something that you've done all along. And if anyone's interested in any more of Esther's work or compositions, we've popped her website on the screen here, and we'll share that as well. But I'm interested to know, Esther, a composition, it's been there all the time, but when did it become such a passion of yours?
Yeah, I had I was touring a lot when I was in my 20s. I toured a lot with 12th Day, my duo. Katrina Price is the other half. She's an amazing violin player. And then I kind of realized that I had this calling in me that I really wanted to do more of my own composition work. And so the first thing I applied for was actually the Manchester Jazz Festival, and it was an 11-piece band suite of music by Caroline Duffy. That was the first official thing. I should I should backtrack because I've always written music. Katrina and I have always written music together since we were started college, and even before that, I wrote songs when I was at school, and I wrote tunes then too, and I wrote music all through college just as my passion. And my teacher at Era, Lynn Jones, was so supportive of that and really encouraged me. And I performed quite a few of my compositions with the other harpists in the college because I wrote them for the first, actually, one of the very first kind of ensemble pieces I wrote was for 4 harps. And actually, then through that, we then developed ensemble which is called Cloud's Harp Quartet. So we toured quite a lot as well when we were in our 20s. They've well, there's 5 of us actually, so we've got kind of a dep. But 3 out of 5 of us now have babies, so touring not so easy these days. But that was amazing. That was such a great opportunity for me to write for those guys. So I really wrote with those people in mind, you know, with my friends, thinking of my friends, wanting to write like with their personalities in my mind. So so I loved writing for them, and we've now released 4 albums together. We don't have anything on Spotify, but we do. Yeah, we've still got a few CDs under our beds, I think.
Don't we all?
Yeah. But yeah, it's so so I kind of always wrote music unofficially, and then I just thought, you know, how could I take this more seriously and actually, you know, consider it as a part of my job. And so I applied for this thing for Manchester Jazz Festival, and I got it, and I was so excited and kind of amazed that I received the award to write this piece. And so that was a suite of 7 pieces, 7 poems again, and the poems were all by Caroline Duffy, who I love. I really love her work. So yeah, that was like my introduction to writing for other people. And then I wrote something for Chamber Music Scotland and Music in Peebles. It was kind of a combined commission about the floods. So that was for string quartet and harp and voice. And then it kind of spiraled from there. I was asked to write a suite an Alice in Wonderland suite for
Mm.
harp and bassoon for my friends in America, in the USA. And then, yeah, I've written for wind quintet and for orchestra as well. Since then, actually, for Peebles Orchestra, I've got another piece um, coming up with them in November. And yeah, just as I said, for the Edinburgh Book Festival, for the Edwin Morgan Trust, and could go on. Yeah, it's kind of spiraled, and it's been just amazing. And I've realised that, um, it's something that I absolutely love. I love thinking about other people and their personalities, and then combining that with mine, and writing music for others. It's something. It's kind of the antidote to touring. Because I love touring, but I don't know if I'm a natural tourer. I think I love sitting here, actually, right in this spot. My harp's there, um, and that's my beautiful music stand, which was made by my
Wow.
friend, who's a blacksmith, so it's cast iron. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, and I just love sitting here and watching the sky and writing music, and it just fills me with so much joy. So
That's amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing. And so now that your music and your composition is taking you to starting to be commissioned for different works, I'm interested to know how it feels to kind of make that move from composing music, yes, for other people, but composing your own music, like choosing, I want to compose on this subject, or I want to compose for these instruments, and the shift to then be commissioned. You will compose for these instruments, and we want to compose you to compose about this. Is that
Yeah.
difficult, or I'm really interested in creative constraints? I'm very into it. So I kind of think that might
Yeah.
actually be easier, but I'm interested to know what you think about that.
Yes, creative constraints. I'm so into them as well. They're so useful. Just to stop your brain overloading from all
Mm-hmm.
of the possibilities. I think that's so often, what I hear, because I teach composition a bit too, and obviously I teach the harp as well. Um, and yeah, those two things often interlap. And so often people say to me, I just don't think it's good enough, or, I've got all these things. And the best thing you can do is just simplify it, like get the essence
Mm-hmm.
of something, of one idea. So anyway, going back to your question, yeah, I think writing for other people with a very specific brief, like for example with the Alice in Wonderland suite, um, that was amazing because obviously Alice in Wonderland is this beautiful story,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's already got my imagination sparked, and so I decided, the piece is 12 minutes, 13 minutes long, and it's got four short movements. Oh no, I think it's 15 minutes, and it's got four short movements. Um, and so I just wanted to kind of pull out the elements of that piece of that story, sorry. And yeah, so I chose kind of four elements that I loved about that story, and wanted to kind of like really explore those four elements. And so yeah, again, like just trying to hone in my ideas, like
Mm-hmm.
just don't look at the whole story, look at just this kind of specific themes, four specific themes.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, and I think because I'm a folk musician and my background is folk music, that really helps as well with structure.
Mm-hmm.
So a good tune, a good drone.
Yes.
Actually, the first movement of the bassoon and the harp piece is based on a drone, basically the whole of that piece, and it's kind of got extended techniques around it. Um, but it is just it's a sort of inverted drone, a couple of times. But yeah, it's there's so much you can explore just with one sound with the drone. I think endlessly fascinating is a drone.
Mm.
A drone is, and that's something that folk music is absolutely comes from folk music. That's what folk music's taught me. And yeah, just simplifying a tune is
Mm.
so great. But yeah, when it comes to my own work that is not pre-decided, does not have a brief to go with it. Um, I think I just dig deep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get deep, Heather. I
We're here
think
for it.
yeah, I just like to be honest, like it's my way. The I feel like the purpose of music is to connect, with people and the things that I care about. And so, for example, I write a lot about nature, and I write about my personal life, trying to make it relatable for other people. And I write about the things that I care about, the people I care about, situations that I care about, or situations that have moved me, touched me. They can be as simple, like the simpler, the better. The more straightforward the message, the better. That's definitely something that I'm, still learning all the time, because I have so many preconceptions about what I should be and what the kind of music that I should make, because, I was at classical music college, which is loaded with expectation, as I guess any music training can be. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of about stripping all that back and just being with yourself, and it's emotionally challenging sometimes. I think, like, this is something that I'm finding out more and more. It's a journey, and it can be emotionally challenging if you really want to put yourself in your music, which I really do. So yeah, it's kind of cathartic. I think my album Expectations of a Lifetime was cathartic because a lot of that music was actually quite old, and I orchestrated it. So I added the instrumentation, the specific instrumentation that's on the album for the album, for the official recording of it. But those songs, I've sung them for years, quite a few of them, not all of them, and then some more of them were newer. So it was cathartic, and it was also it was an emotional challenge, I'd say, some of those songs.
Of course, yeah.
But worth it. Hopefully.
So Expectations of a Lifetime, I feel like that's such a huge title. I'm interested to know where that came from, and what's the reflection of that in the album? Why did you decide to call it Expectations of a Lifetime?
Well, that's kind of goes back to what I was saying before. I've put off recording my debut album for a long time, for years. I've done a couple of EPs, and I've recorded albums with other people, as I said, with the Clouds and 12th Day, but I had all of this expectation for my solo album, what I needed to put out there, to show people, and so I wanted to, like, really question myself with that, because ultimately it's just one moment that you've captured in time. That's all an album is. It's special, but live music is also, it's just as special, but it's just not recorded. And so yeah, I wanted to kind of face myself with that, with all of these expectations that I've put on myself. And the album is really a declaration of that in general. So it's my journey as a woman in my mid-30s now, and the expectations that we put on ourselves. I think everyone has expectations they put on ourselves as classical musicians, as women, as performers, as people working in the arts, just people wanting to be good people in society, and yeah, just engage with other people and be interesting enough or something. So yeah, a lot of the album sort of reflects on that and digs into that. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I think so many people can relate to what you've just said. In fact, my solo album, which was a long time ago now, because now I'm like winding myself up about actually doing another one, but it took me 9 years to finally actually record it, and I called it Nae Sweets for Shy Bairns. Right? Yeah. It feels like such a big thing, and there is such a but it's there, and there was one piece, New Guy's Lament, that I changed and I changed and I changed. It's not right, and I changed it and I changed it, and I never play it the same twice live. So
yeah.
Finally, it was Karina Hewitt actually. She said, Heather, an album is just a picture of you as a musician. Think about it like a Polaroid. At that one moment, And what you are the day later or a week later, a year later is something different. So just do it.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Oh, that's great. That's such a good title for an album as well. I love that. It's so true. It just summarizes, like, that's pretty much the same title, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Wow.
that. That's nice. So we're going to listen to our final piece of music from you tonight, Esther. And this one isn't a composition, but it is an arrangement. So it's exciting to hear some of your arranging work as well. And before we do that, guys, just remember that if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat and we'll be coming to them very shortly. But first, let's have a listen to this arrangement. And I'd love to know why you chose this one to arrange. Tell us about that arrangement.
Excuse me. Oh, I love that song so much. That was actually part of my Celtic Connections New Voices, which I was able to do. Actually, it was during the pandemic. It was a hard time for Celtic, but I did manage to do my New Voices, which was just amazing. Such an amazing opportunity that, and I love that festival so much. And I wanted to include that song because, well, it's one of my absolute favourite songs. My mum sang it to me when I was a baby. And I kind of looked at it again and I realised that, like, the message of it is also kind of really sad because it's saying that you have to buy your dreams. And it's kind of like both really playful and it's got this sort of sadness to it, I think. And I think that is something that, good Scots songs do so well.
Don't they just?
They're really good at being, like, super jolly whilst also being dour-ass. So you have to include some of that in my work, yeah. And don't mess with a trad song. It's just, I wanted to leave it as quite simple. So yeah, percussion and there's some electronics, but I wanted to keep them quite minimal. And then obviously the other instruments as well.
Lovely. Yeah. And for anyone who's interested, that was Dream Angus that Esther arranged there, a beautiful traditional Scottish song. So really nice to hear one of your arrangements. But what was the tune that you played, the little jig? Was that something you wrote or was that another trad tune?
Yeah, that was just a little jig. I don't actually have a name for that. I'm sorry. I should. I've been meaning to. You heard it here first. I've been meaning to, again, for years, publish a book of my tunes. So that's on the cards.
Nice. That's exciting. We'll definitely watch the space for that. And when it comes, it'll definitely be on your website. So we'll pull that up now. And if anyone's interested in any of Esther's other work and her forthcoming tune book, then you can definitely head over to her website and check that out, and also her Instagram. Now, I do have a few more questions for you before we go to the questions from everybody live. The first one is relating back to your composition. So you studied harp formally, studied classical harp. How about composition? Did you ever study composition in a formal education setting?
I did at school. I was really lucky to have some lessons at school. And then I did have a few lessons with various different people after I left, but I never went to college with composition actually. Um, yeah, I've kind of toyed with the idea of doing a master's in composition to have like an official, you know, degree with it. But right now it's just, yeah, I'm just really enjoying developing my skills with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, since that's not something you formally studied, how did you learn to, as a harpist, was it back to your school days that you learned how to compose from a trombone or a bass clarinet and to orchestrate for all these instruments? Was it back then, or did you find an organic way of doing that? How did you learn that kind of skill?
Well, I was really lucky because I played with all sorts of musicians when I was at college and then afterwards too. So I played with a trombonist actually who taught me so much about composing for trombone. And yeah, again, like basically all of the instruments that I compose with are through people that I've played with, and I've had the chance to ask them like what things sound like and explore different sounds with them. Yeah, so it's all kind of as a practical thing, and I think that's really what I want to do in my compositions. I suppose maybe that's why I'm like hesitant about doing a master's. That and a few other things, but um, I want to keep it as a really hands-on thing, where I see the person and I see what they like to play, and I kind of try to engage with that as much as I can and their energy with it. So I really like to spend a lot of time with the people that I'm performing, that I'm writing for, before writing a piece for them. And then, as I'm writing a piece, for example, this wind piece that I'm writing at the moment, I'm going to send them excerpts, a few different excerpts, like especially kind of more, maybe slightly more extended techniques and things like slightly unusual sounds. I'll send them excerpts and we'll have a workshop together or 2 or 3 workshops together to see how they sound, which will be super useful for me, to take stuff forward.
Amazing. That's so interesting. Okay, this is my final question for you, and then we'll go to the people who are joining us live. But it's quite clear watching your music and also listening to you how important people are to you and collaboration is in your music. And I know that someone who you've played with for so long is Katrina and 12th Day. So I'm really interested to hear about what that relationship means to you. And before you tell us, everybody, Esther and Katrina 12th Day have a Patreon that you guys can subscribe to. Again, we'll pop the link in the description for you. But has this been your longest running musical partner? What does she mean to you, and what does 12th Day mean for you?
Oh, that's such a nice final question. Yeah, Katrina is like my long-term partner in crime. We've known each other, we've seen each other through everything. When you go on tour with someone, you really are each other's family, and you're each other's musical collaborators, you're each other's business partners. You have to be like everything for each other. It's maybe the most intense relationship of my life, and that's also, I've got a wonderful partner as well. But yeah, it's been amazing to explore all of these, well, so many ideas with Katrina. And we were really lucky because at college, we just had a free hand. We had all of this time together to just go a bit wild, to be honest, and just try out all of our different ideas and just see what it sounded like and what stuck. And yeah, I share all of my kind of musical ideas with Kat, and we have all these playlists together of tunes that we both love, and musicians that we both love, that just keeps growing and growing. And so yeah, it's amazing to share so much with her musically. It's been such a huge support to me over the years, and it continues to be. And she's just such an amazing musician as well, and so inspiring, as well, to just hear about how she is, and yeah, what she's thinking musically. Like, I'm always interested to see what she's
That's
thinking.
lovely. That's lovely. Do you know what? I'm so cheeky, but I just remembered one last question that I had as well, and
Yeah.
it was from me and Willie. So
Great.
I don't know, how long ago was this, Willie?
A couple of years ago, maybe.
Was it a couple of years ago? So a couple of years ago, William and I were toddling along to a Richard Dawson gig, ready to enjoy ourselves. Yeah, and I think on the way in, someone said, "Hey, it's a harpist supporting." Did they not? And we were like, "Oh, interesting, a harpist supporting." And who is the harpist but Esther Swift? So what was it like supporting Richard Dawson?
Oh my God, it was so great. He's just amazing. I just love his songs so much. He's such a creative guy.
Yeah.
And it was amazing just chatting to him for a bit in the dressing room. I was totally starstruck. And again, his palette of sound and his palette of emotions that he goes through, just makes you laugh and cry in one song. And his chops is everything. I just think he's, he wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he?
He sure does.
With his songs and his words, and they're so unique, and I don't even know how to summarize Richard Dawson. He's so unique.
He's playing in Glasgow soon, isn't he? St. Luke's.
He's playing in a couple of weeks.
Playing at St. Luke's again in a couple of weeks.
Amazing.
If anyone's interested. Okay, that was nice. That was a little sneaky one I snuck in. So let's see if we've got any questions from our live audience.
Yeah, you got 4 so far.
We've got 4. Fantastic. Let's bring them up. So Angela is asking, your music has taken you around the world to perform. Is there anywhere you have been that stands out as a highlight, or anywhere you would really love to take your music in the future? What a great question.
That's an amazing question. Well, I have been so lucky to tour in. Heather and I have both recently been to New Zealand and Australia. I've toured in Germany a lot. I love playing in Germany. They're really, so supportive especially towards Celtic musicians. And I've played in the States and in South America. South America was absolutely incredible. Really kind of got me in touch with some kind of root of movement and music, and the combination of those two things, which was amazing. I also went to Malawi, and similar, I just felt like, oh yeah, this is where music's from, and just connecting to that core purpose of music. But I tell you, one of the standout places I've been is Vietnam. I did a residency there with the British Council a few years ago. I think it was 2019, and I was there for a month with Tom Bancroft, who's a drummer, and a piper, David Shedden.
Oh,
and
nice.
30 Vietnamese musicians.
Wow.
From all around the country, from specific different regions, who celebrated specific different traditions. And that was just unbelievable, just to get to collaborate with those musicians, and to learn more about their cultures, and just get a chance to make a piece with them. I will never forget that trip. I'd love to go back to Vietnam and play with them. And I made some lifelong friends there. I've collaborated with a few of them since as well, just online. So yeah, somewhere I would love to go is Japan. I really want to. That's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That would be lovely. We've got that on our list too, don't we?
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
We want to go in cherry blossom season and see all the beautiful cherry blossoms. Oh my gosh. It's always about the nature for us.
Yes, me too. Definitely.
Oh, great question. Thanks for that, Angela. So we've got one here from Eleanor. What composer, or more than one, dead or alive, would you most like to walk up Arthur's seat with? And what would you chat about? Wow, that's hard.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. But I'm just going to go with my gut. It would probably be a different answer tomorrow. But today, it would be Bjork.
Nice. Willie's
I
on
just,
board with that, aren't you, Willie? Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah, she's just, you know, I don't know if you've listened to her podcast. She did a podcast about, um, which is one episode per album. And I've been a huge fan of her since I was a teenager. And just like her, yeah, the spectrum of sound that she uses, like the palette of sound, it's just like, I don't know how she comes up with that. She is an amazing composer. You know, she's credited for being on stage and for being this exquisite singer, which I like. I love her voice. I think it's like just so amazing and unique as well. But as a composer, an arranger, and a producer, she is absolutely amazing as well. Yeah, so I would love to just chat to her about music and just take a walk with her because again, she loves nature. A lot of her music is influenced by nature quite directly. Actually, you can hear that. So yeah, I would go with Bjork today.
Nice. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I like that. And another one from Eleanor. Have you got any favourite pedals or effects?
Oh, that's a cool question. Well, I love a pedal slide, especially a slow pedal slide. Sounds really angry, especially on the bass notes, like on the wire strings. Just holding down a pedal slide is really fun. Also, you know what? I recently have got really into a bow on the harp. Let me just show you, because I've got one that I prepared earlier. So this is a bow which I took off the wooden part of the bow, which I've got here. So this is the wooden part of the bow, and I just removed the hair. And so that allows you to thread the bow through the strings, and then you can move it through. And it just makes an amazing, amazing sound. It's kind of haunting, yeah, and a bit eerie. So I'm getting really into that right now. So get ready for that coming up in my next pieces.
Amazing. I love that you have immediately gone for traditional effects on the harp because I would have interpreted this question as pedals as in electronic pedals and effects.
Oh, yes.
So let's go down
Eleanor,
that route as
sorry.
well. Well, who knows what she meant? So now she's going to get both. So how about any electronic pedals?
Oh, you know what? I haven't particularly explored pedals. So I
Oh,
don't know if I feel qualified to say. I have done it with my pal, who's an electronics musician, a lot, and he's reversed the sound of the
yeah,
harp a
that's
lot,
cool.
which is very cool.
Yeah.
Also, he heavy distortion is super fun as well. Yeah, and delay, you can do a lot with delay. If you just see how far you can go with delay. It's really fun.
I'm going to
But
answer
that's
the I'm going to answer the question because I love pedals, but I don't know the names of any of them, so I need Willie's help. What's the one that's the gold pedal?
The plus pedal that does the
sound
bed underneath.
Yeah. What's it called? The plus
It's
pedal.
called a plus pedal.
There you go. That's my favorite. The plus pedal.
Ooh,
It's
I
really
want to
cool.
remember that.
It's really, really cool. Do you want to explain what it actually does?
It just kind of like holds us like a sound bed, like the last note you played, it'll kind of hold a little sound bed underneath for as long as you hold the pedal down, and it's like a sustained pedal of
So even if I damp the strings, like if I play a chord, it'll hold the whole chord and then I can damp it and it'll still hold that and I can play over the top. And I mean, as harpists, aren't we just always looking for sustain?
Yes, exactly.
I love that pedal. I love it.
Oh,
Great.
that's so nice. I want that. That sounds amazing.
Oh, there you go. I did mean electro pedals, but I'm also really happy with Esther's analog answer.
Oh,
I love that.
a comment in the last one as well.
Another comment. I knew you were going to say Bjork. I'm so into her. Esther, seen her 4 times live. Wow.
wow. I've seen her. I went to see her for a fiver in Manchester because
Oh,
I
is that
happened to
Ellie?
be.
It's Ellie Turner. I didn't realise
my
it was
gosh.
Ellie. Hi.
Hello. Oh,
There's
oh
too
my
many
gosh,
Eleanors.
gabbing away.
I know. There you go. Who's your favourite, Ellie? We want to know that.
Yeah.
Right in the chat. But because we got more questions while we wait for her favourite, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Okay, have you composed or arranged many jazz pieces? And do you have a favourite female jazz musician or singer?
Oh, cool question. Well, I am not a trained jazz musician, but I love functional harmony, and I love jazz a lot. But I've never studied jazz particularly. Um, but I have arranged. I've not arranged any standards, if that's the question. Actually, that's a lie. I've arranged again. I've arranged Bjork. It's Also Quiet. I don't know if that's quite a jazz standard though. But I loved arranging that. The chords in that are amazing. In her version, well, in the original version, I think they're the same chords too. So Bjork again. No,
Nice.
No. Here's my favorite female jazz singer. There's a woman called Genevieve Artadi, who's nuts, and I love her.
Nice.
And she writes mad music. And I think she's recently been working in Copenhagen with a jazz band there. Honestly, I really recommend people check her out if you want to hear someone nuts. She just like opens up my mind whenever I listen to her to like the potential of music.
Wow.
She's super fun. So yeah, she's my person right now. Anyone else? A female jazz musician singer.
Do you have any, Willie? Willie's quite good at this.
Too many.
Too many?
Don't want to go down my
Pick one. Go with the gut. One.
I'm out.
Oh, he's bottled it.
Well, I would say, obviously, well, obviously, the obvious one's Ella Fitzgerald / Nina Simone. Nina Simone is really one of my idols, and I have arranged quite a lot of her songs as well.
Was it Nina Simone that told the story about the gun and the guy?
Yeah.
That's have you heard her tell that story about the guy? Willie, go and tell the story. This is amazing.
It's just a record executive, and like she's done this interview, and she's basically just like, oh, there's a rumor that you tried to like stab a record executive, and she's like, no, I tried to shoot him. And she basically just says that he was owing me money, so I turned up at the restaurant with a gun and I tried to shoot him. And they were like, oh, do you regret that? And she's like, yeah, I regret it. I missed him. And it's like, just when she's like a cranky old woman, it's amazing.
He took my money. It was amazing when you hear her telling it. I'm not even going to do a Nina Simone impression because I'll embarrass everyone and insult everyone, but it's really funny.
Yeah, Nala Sinefro's my favourite one.
Nala Sinefro.
She's a harpist.
Ooh.
Nala Sinefro.
There you go. Nala Sinefro.
Two ambient albums from the last 5 years. She got into like tape loops during COVID.
Is that what you were playing in the kitchen the other day?
No, that was another weird thing.
He's always playing weird stuff in the kitchen.
I love that. I'm going to have to look up Nala
Sinefro. Are all the tracks of the album were called like Untitled 1, Untitled 2.
Yes.
That
Great.
kind of stuff, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, let's...
I want to hear your weird stuff from the kitchen.
Well, you can come and stay. We do say that. Like, you're very welcome to come and stay and relax. We have an ensuite bathroom in the spare bedroom, and you can play the canopy if you need pedals.
Oh my gosh! Don't tempt me.
There you go.
I'll be there.
Tell you what, you'll come up with some crazy compositions if you stay with us for a few days. Oh, do we have any more questions?
Oh, you're all good.
Did Ellie tell us who her favourite is? Oh, Ellie, you didn't tell us. What does she say?
She was saying she likes the idea of the plus pedal.
The plus pedal's really cool. Everyone should look it up. It's awesome.
Oh, I'm definitely looking it up.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Esther. This has been such a fun and insightful and, I don't know, joyous interview. It's just felt really joyous, isn't it? Really lovely. So thank you so much. And maybe you would wrap up by telling us a little bit about what we can expect, because you're, of course, our special guest in the How to Harp membership this month. You'll be giving us a concert this weekend and a workshop in 2 weekends. So can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect?
Absolutely. I'm very aware there's quite dark behind me. So
we've been talking for a long time.
Yeah, I don't have any lights on in this house. Well, I'm going to play quite a few tunes and songs from my album expectations for a lifetime. I've also got a few new bits and bobs actually, which I'd like to air for the first time to your audience. Which I'd love to know your thoughts on. But yeah, it'll be obviously solo versions without the full band shebang. But I've been playing a lot solo. The majority of my live work is kind of more solo stuff. And so I absolutely love it, and it's going to be unique, as we said before. It's not going to be like the album. It's going to be its own thing.
Amazing.
So yeah,
Amazing. We can't wait. And your workshop?
And the workshop is basically a kind of overview of my creative process and a way to get creative and find ways to structure and kind of focus your own creativity.
Amazing. Amazing. We can't wait. Thank you so much, Esther, for spending time with us. I'm so excited about hearing you play and giving us your workshop. And guys, just to remind you, if you're interested in Esther's work, you can head over to her website to take a look. She's got her Patreon with 12th Day, and check out her Instagram. She is touring later on this year in the UK, so definitely check out those dates if you are in the UK. But of course, if you're further afield, she often travels the world, so watch this space. Esther, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you.
You've got a wee message.
We've got a wee message. Oh, we've got one message. Here we go, Ellie. I'm waving at the screen too. Hee hee. Repedals. I'm frustrated by lack of funds. Oh, God, aren't we all, Ellie?
Oh, I know.
Rely on second hand and rejects, but I like pedal combos. Cheap Trelicopter and distortion sounds like Hammond organ.
Cool.
We love those suggestions. Thank you so much for letting us know what you like, Ellie. We enjoy that. Maybe you could accidentally and deliberately come to stay at the same time as Esther.
Yes,
you guys would have to share the bed. We only have one
that's
bed, but
fine.
you know, I don't mind sharing. You could go somewhere else, Willie, and the three of us could all share.
Yeah, we'd write some great music.
We still would. Okay, we should maybe calm down a little bit. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Esther. It was so lovely to chat to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a lovely time.
Amazing. Great. Well, if you guys have enjoyed tonight's interview, then please do like and subscribe the channel, because we have a Beyond the Harp interview at least every month here on this YouTube channel. And if you're interested in the workshop and concert that Esther just talked about, she is a special guest in the How to Harp membership. And you can check out that membership at the website above, howtoharp.com. And hopefully I will see you in an event very soon. Thanks so much for listening. And of course, happy harping to you all.